Hello everybody, this is the first real-life review. We're going to call it our product review. The very first one, the G27. Is that not a big box? I mean, that's a big box. It's a lot of stuff. It's actually a pretty nice amount of stuff. Retail, I think you can pick up 300 US, give or take. Depends on when you get it, where you get it. I got mine on Amazon. So Logitech G27. So what all do you get with a Logitech G27? You actually get quite a bit of kit. So let's start with what you don't get. You don't get a stand. By default, for $300, you get 3 pieces of kit, 4 if you count the power strip. You get the pedals, you get the steering wheel, and you get the shifter. What you don't get is any place to mount it. If you're like me and you have a glass desk, which is what I run over here, I have a glass desk. It's very thick glass, but it's still glass, so I can't mount this onto that. That necessitates building something or buying something, and you can buy some pretty impressive pieces of equipment, racing seats that mount all the bits. Now I'm not doing that. No way am I doing that kind of thing. But what I have done is I've built my own G27 table, for lack of anything better. We're going to look at each piece of the G27, and we're going to look at the kit as it's fully built and put onto my machine, and then we'll go over a few of the things about installing the G27, running the G27, and some of the pros and cons. And believe it or not, there's not a lot in the way of cons to the Logitech G27. It's actually a really nice piece of equipment. So without further ado, let's go to the pieces of kit. To start with, we have the G27 wheel. This is a really nice wheel. This is leather wrapped. This is all metal in here, and in fact the shifters in the back are also metal. The actuation is very tight. Feels a lot like the Ferrari 458 Italia I drove. The buttons feel really good as well. This is not plastic. This is not cheap stuff. I mean, there is a little bit of plastic here and there, and most of this kit back here is plastic, but this bit back here is also well ventilated. There's a lot of equipment going on in here. In fact, all of the various components of the G27 flow into this box here. It does the computation and then sends it out to the computer, or preps it for the computer to finish final computation. This is a very nice piece of equipment. The leather wrapped wheel, I mean, it does smell like, when you first get it, you open it up, you smell that new leather smell. Really nice. I mean, you feel like you just bought a new car for the price especially, but it feels really good. Now here it's off, it's not plugged in, so it'll rotate relatively freely. Once it's plugged in, there are actually electric drive motors inside this unit. An electric drive motor will both shake the wheel, and it will also, as you turn, it increases the resistance to continuation of the turn so that you feel like you're really putting effort into turning your car. So the steering wheel itself is a very nice piece of equipment, and I would say is almost worth the purchase price in and of itself. But that's not all you get with the G27. Second bit of kit you give is this. This is the shifter that comes with the G27 wheel. This is a very quick short throw shifter. It's a 6-speed. It has a dog leg reverse. There's your reverse gear. You do have to push down and out to get to your reverse gear, much like any manual shifting car today. The old school ones that I used to drive, we didn't have that push down bit there. It is a very quick shifting. This is a leather bit here. It does feel like it's got a metal. In fact, I know it does because you can push it down. There's actually a metal shifting stick there. So this is, again, a very nice piece of equipment. And then you have all these extra buttons and your power light to tell you that you actually are receiving power and you are connected to your computer. And now for the third piece of kit. Really, there is a fourth. By fourth, I have power piece. That's really the fourth. But pedals. Your gas, your clutch, and your brake. Gas pedal is very quick actioning, very quick. Brake takes a little bit of effort. Clutch takes a little bit of effort. They have heavier springs in here. These are metal. This is a plastic base, but these are metal. The springs feel like they're metal. They have a nice linear push to them. You will find that when you first start using these that it's almost binary until you get it dialed in. Meaning when you start a game, the very first thing I do is I push each one of these to their limit, and I found that once I do that, the software on the computer is then able to recognize these gentle pushes that I put into these. And again, usually set your dead zone almost completely off because you don't need a dead zone anymore. Your foot is now actioning exactly how much you need in terms of pressure on our 3 pedals. This is a pretty heavy piece of kit. On the underside, while it is all plastic, there are some screw mounts to screw onto things. It also has a carpet grabber here, which is very important, so that you can actually put it down on carpet if you feel like it. So those are the 3 pieces of kit with our Logitech G27. Let's talk about positioning. This is where, well, one, I built this table for it to go on. Because of the way my desk is constructed, again, I can't mount this directly on. And these things mount with these little pieces that are very easy to release. There's a third one on the underside of this one. So this one is now completely loose, and you can see that there's various mount pieces that you mount onto there. And again, everything flows back to the G27 wheel itself. So you have to have the wheel in a position where all this can meet up. And then from the wheel, it will go out to your computer. Power comes into the wheel as well. I set this up it's a little bit high actually for what I need. I actually need it to be about 3 or 4 inches shorter than it is, but for something that cost me $13 to build after an expensive steering wheel purchase, I found that this was more than adequate for what I needed it to do. The advantage to it is because there's so much wiring involved. You're running 3 wires into your wheel plus a wire out of your wheel. There's a lot of wiring involved, so this isn't something that you quickly set up and take down. It used to be that when I felt like playing Euro Truck, I'd just boot up Euro Truck and I'd grab my controller and away I'd go and I'd figure it out from there. Now it actually is an endeavor to set up this to work for Euro Truck. So I'm going to go set it up. I'll show you what the setup looks like once I have it completely set up, and then we'll take a little drive and we'll talk a little bit about some other things involving the G27. All right, we're now in game. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this first because, my God, that's right in the way. So we're going to go ahead and just take a quick job. And we're just going to do something really, really short. All right, we're going to take Stan from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. So I have this thing set up with an 18-speed gearbox. So I have standard first through 6, and then I have a high and a low and a high. So these allow me to upshift beyond. So I'm going to go ahead and start by hitting my gas, brake unit, my clutch unit all the way. That initializes the game's, or the Logitech system, so it's now going to read things a little bit better than it did. We'll figure out what my buttons are because we have to remember what they all are. Okay. All right. And then we have our various lights. Somewhere I turned on the high beams. Now I just have to figure out how to turn them off. There. Okay. So start off, a little bit of brake, and first gear. Very easy, very simple. Okay, now I've got my clutch in. So there I come up, clutch in, second gear. Very easy, very simple. Just third gear. Now, here's where the problems have come into play for me. I've come to my stop, I'm in neutral. I can't look around, so I'm having to use my mouse, and that's what the mouse is here for, is so that I can actually look around. All right, I think we're mostly good. There's a lot of mostly good moments here. Now I can, if I want, we'll try to start this in 5th gear. And it does have the power to do it. Nope, we're in neutral. There's 6th gear. Turn on the blinker. Nope, I don't want to turn on the blinker. I want to go straight. All right, so now I'm accelerating straight. I'm out of 6th gear, so I'm going to go into neutral, tap my low. Now I'm in 7th gear. I want 8th. That's all I got to do. Okay, I just hit that button, and I'm going to tap my clutch, and that upshifts me to 8th. I'm going to put a link to a video by a fan who actually showed how to do this. It does require editing some XML. Ooh, we stopped. It does require editing some XML in order to do this. The nice thing is this shifter is pretty good unless you start getting crazy. Now, what do I mean by getting crazy? I think we can go. By getting crazy, I mean if you're shifting really, really fast, really, really quickly, you can miss a gear. It's very easy, especially with my setup as it is, that when I go from what is second into what is third, that I'll actually end up in fifth. But that happens more on games like Assetto Corsa than on games like Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now we're going to want to slow this down a little bit. Woo. Oh, I got sand back there. Okay. It does add a lot of realism to the game. This feel that I do have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Now, if I don't want to go into 12th, I turn off my high range, neutral. Now I'm in 11th. Hit my high range, clutch it, and now I'm into 12th. It's as simple as that. It seems very simple to talk about, but to remember to do every single time is it's not so much. All right, well, here we are in the next car game, and I ripped the next car game for a lot of its behaviors, but with the G27, some of that has changed. So we're going to go ahead and go racing, and we're going to race some, let's race in the gravel. All right, so here we are in the gravel. Yes, I will go now. Whoa. All right, so here we are in the gravel. That car was backwards. Now, I ripped the next car game for its controllability. But look at that, that's a power slide. That was a beautiful power slide. Now, what you might not notice, look at that. Yeah, you actually have to fight the wheel. As you hit things in the next car game, it force feedbacks to the wheel. The big electromotive generators that are in the back of this unit actually do fight you with the wheel, and it really adds to the drivability. When you go airborne with the front wheels of the car, you can tell you've gone airborne because suddenly the wheel is really easy to turn, and then it's sort of that, woo, and then you land, and you hope that you're not going to kill yourself on landing. Oh, that wasn't good. I wasn't the only one who planted myself in here. Now the cool thing is, there we go. You get a feel of control over the car that you don't have when you're using something like a controller. This is really great, especially for people who enjoy car games or trucking games. I will say something like Assetto Corsa, which is an absolutely amazing simulator, is well nigh unplayable until you have a wheel. The wheel really adds to the ability to control the car in all phases. Something that you don't get when you're using the controller, because the controller's feedback zones are often a lot, well, they leave a lot to be desired. Let's put it that way. Ooh. Get off your car. There we go. Whoa. Now that right there, oh, would have been near an uncontrollable crash when using something like the controller. But here with the wheel, you feel like you have control over it, and that is where the G27 shines. Anybody who drives a car, oops, in any part of their daily life will feel right at home using the G27. When you have it set up, I'm about to go through that sign, you're going to feel well nigh at home. You're going to feel better able to control your cars. Oh, dude, really? You don't know how to drive? You'll feel more at home, more capable of controlling your cars because you have all the things you're used to when you're driving your regular day-to-day car. So you don't have to fear dying from a crash quite as badly. Now, does that make the G27 worth the price? Well, yes and no. Yes, it's worth the price because you can do these amazing things. You can drive, you can feel like you're part of it, but is it fully worth the price? Well, you do have to consider you need a proper desk to mount it to. This isn't a proper desk in any way, shape, or form, so you have to consider that when you buy this. I didn't, and I had to quickly build a desk. Additionally, the software that you have to install, for some people, well, let's just say they didn't do a very good job explaining it. So they didn't do a very good job explaining the software that you have to install. it's a profiler. It allows the use of all the various buttons that you otherwise are not going to be able to use if you don't install the profiler service. Now, the problem with it is they name their profiler service the same as they name their software that's used for controlling their mouse and keyboards. This creates some confusion for me, at least. I initially was seriously concerned that I was going to have a problem whereby my keyboard and mouse might have a conflict with my controller. Now, it turns out that's not true because they're actually completely different services, but it's something to keep in mind that it doesn't feel quite like they thought it all the way through, or like, I don't know, maybe the two different departments didn't really talk to each other. Oh great, I can't see where I'm going now. Off my hood, tire. Ooh, turn. Oh, there we go. Would I recommend this? Heartily. I would heartily recommend the G27. If you enjoy these kind of games and doing better than the average bear. Oh, hey, hello. This is a great piece of software. Additionally, I do know that this does work on the Xbox and PlayStation. I would presume the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are included. I know you can use it on the 360 and the PlayStation 3. So somebody like me who plays a lot of Forza 3 and Forza 4, well, I can get a certain advantage if I drive with this. I wouldn't necessarily ever do that because, well, I don't know. I might. So is the G27 worth it? I think it's worth it. It's a really nice piece of kit. It feels like it's been taken out of a car. I mean, you're talking metal pieces in the right place. This feels like a proper piece of equipment. You have the desire to play racing games, if you have the desire to win at racing games, if you desire to play Euro Truck and feel like you're truly a trucker, I would definitely say put aside some money, pick yourself up a Logitech G27. Until next time, I've been DerTebbers with a hardware review, Logitech G27, a racing wheel worth your money. Until next time, bye everybody.